Well, for those of you who are left, haven't got lunch yet, I can tell you I'm humbled to be here with all these great speakers today and the tremendous discussions we've had. You know, all the way from the keynote speaker this morning talking about what the business is going to be like in different areas of telecommunications 50 years, in 2050 rather, to the great panel we had right up ahead of me, which was talking about the great evolution of what's going on in the telecommunications world. Those things are all at really a high, very high macro level compared to where I want to talk today. I also want to talk about evolution, but I want to talk about the DAS evolution. I want to talk about the DAS world and what I think is going on in the DAS world and how that's evolving right now. So we'll take it a lot more narrow focus down to the DAS world, where it's going, what Intelibs, which is who I am, can do to help us get there, and what the challenges are for us all. See if I can run this right. All right, who's Intelibs? A little bit about us. We're about 10 years old. We started as a custom technology shop for Verizon. Our main technology is RF over fiber, and that's in many, many different forms. We've heard us all talk today about fiber and how fiber is driving our world. That's our main technology, is what we do with RF over fiber. We're a platinum member of NEDAS, so we're happy to be here. And our headquarters is just up the road in Stony Brook, New York. We also have an office out in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I'm from. Our largest line of products is GPS precision timing solution equipment via either fiber or coax. We're on contract with Verizon. We also sell T-Mobile, AT&T, so we sell to all the big carriers. And we've just now introduced, which I'll talk a little bit about in a little later, a RF over fiber point of interface equipment so that you can remote your source equipment from your actual DAS. We're also a custom DAS supplier, both for equipment and full turnkey. Again, in DAS, our equipment is approved by Verizon and we're approved for interconnection by all the major carriers. We all know that DAS is migrated originally from voice and capacity, and that migration continues today to all the things we've heard about. Now the carriers are migrating to virtualized and centralized source equipment. We've heard a lot today about how you get that source equipment, how we're short source equipment, how signal source is getting to be one of the keys. We're hearing about the continualized centralization and the low power from the carriers, CRAN, VRAN. In many cases, it's going to generate a location for the signal source that's not right at the DAS head end. Especially we address that enterprise market wave. We can talk more about that. Let's just suffice to say that I believe transporting the signal sources is going to increase dramatically as we talk about the enterprise marketplace. And I think the enterprise marketplace is really what drives the market as we look at this, what I call a bell curve wave of businesses coming and in that marketplace. Fiber is going to be key. We've already talked about it. On the board is some of the key reasons that fiber is the mainstay of our business. The morning's discussion was a lot about enterprise DAS. I do believe it's a massive enterprise market need coming. And as we've all seen in telecommunications in this country, if there's a mass market that drives and opens up, American ingenuity kind of fills that void one way or the other. And I believe that's going to happen. As more and more offices, campuses, hotels find that wireless communications are essential, they're becoming that fourth utility that we've talked about. Our customers out there, whether they're in a college, whether they're in an office place or a building, they're just expecting ubiquitous coverage to stream video, to talk on cell phone, to do whatever they want. They're just coming to expect it. And I think, I don't see Jack, but Jack was talking earlier about 6 million office buildings out there right now, of which we're in single digits of probably what has a DAS system in it today. Enterprise is going to drive that new economic model out there as we see that bell wave come. And it's much different than the current wave of high venue carrier-owned systems. We're going to have a cost problem. There's going to have to be a new cost economic model as the enterprise world heats up. Some cost changes can occur from the centralized and virtualized carrier systems. They're going to lower their costs some. There's other changes that the 5G will drive. Of course, we all know the models for the enterprise market. Presently, they're carrier-owned, which I believe is going to continue to decrease as the carriers put more and more money into the 5G and other capital expenditures. Third-party owned neutral hosts, and then facility-owned solutions, whether they're single carrier models or neutral host multi-carrier. All of these changes are going to continue to drive network timing solutions for centralized and virtualized signal source, which is something we do, and the same can be said as more and more need RF transport. Talk a little bit about us. Our timing needs is GPS solutions, one of the things we do. Centralized and virtual signal sources are going to be everywhere. They're in basements, they're in lower levels. They're thousands of feet sometimes away from where you can get a GPS signal. We have GPS over fiber or over coax, which you can supply up to 256 ports and miles away from where you actually need that GPS synchronization signal for the signal source. As you can see, we're NEMO 4 housings on a rooftop and NEBS level 3 certified in the carrier office. Our fiber distribution can go up to 15 miles. And today we have over 1,000 CRAN hubs for GPS. Oh, I skipped a slide. Well, that'll just get me part of the commercial part of it over quicker. Talk to you a little bit about our signal source over fiber. We just now released our IROF, our Intelligent Radio over Fiber. As I said, we believe fiber is the key to this enterprise wave and to where the next generation of DAS goes. It will handle multi-sector and multi-carrier sources over a single fiber. You can take it for miles. It takes all the spectrum, all the carrier bands, has automatic conditioning, equalization, and balancing of the RF signal. And it's got a great robust signal-to-noise ratio, simplex or duplex. Of course, all the products that Intelibs makes are web and SNMP based remote configuration and monitoring. The evolution, I think, is going to continue as we look at the old mode of operation of where we put a signal source, which was usually a radio, a BDA in the old days. It goes back to my previous lives, that drives the DAS. As we go more and more into the DAS systems, what we believe is going to happen is you're going to see more and more of the signal sources taken from nearby sites, from nearby sources, and transported to the DAS. That way you don't need to put battery backup, you don't need to put everything that a site at a carrier grade needs at the DAS head end, which is going to lower those costs. And of course, we do believe that the costs are going to be one of the greatest part of the model going forward. We believe this will offer a significant savings to the carrier as we move that signal source away from being at the premise of the DAS. Yep, I'm keeping up. Let's talk a little bit more about the, I was going to say it was the elephant in the room, but we've all talked about it all morning now, so I guess the elephant's kind of been exposed, which is what happens with that massive wave of enterprise market opportunities, and it's cost. Centralization and virtualization on the carrier side is going to lower the carrier's cost of operation. I also believe there's an evolution coming as those aspects are fine-tuned and the carriers get more used to having to do business in the neutral host type of environment where they have to share. The DAS technology is already starting to evolve, and you'll see that coming even more, especially as we get into lower power and lower cost of distribution technology. This should lower the cost of the systems overall. But one of the greatest drivers, I believe, that was going to lower the cost for the enterprise market to allow us to get into this economic model is just greater demand. When you talk about 6 million buildings, it doesn't take very many of those buildings to really get into great volumes, which is going to drive great opportunity. This is also going to allow more DAS companies that are carrier approved, but not necessarily on the carrier's contracts. So today, most of the carriers have 3 to 4 DAS companies that they buy from, but yet there's many, many, many more carrier companies out there that are carrier approved, doing enterprise space in neutral host and so on. As those companies come online and the market shifts to being this wave of enterprise type of business, you're going to have a lot more competition. And we all know in the American spirit, competition drives price. Also think that as the enterprise market comes on board and we see more and more of these colleges, as we see businesses, office buildings and so on, you're going to see these companies get more of a cookie cutter approach to DAS. Cookie cutter at the smaller level is going to increase the availability of the product. It's going to lower the cost of manufacturing. It's going to lower the cost of implementation because cookie cutter is always easier to do. That's not possible in most of the DAS world today as we go into these huge multi-million-dollar venues where almost every DAS is custom designed and custom implemented. So the cookie cutter DAS, I believe, is coming. We all know that cookie cutter system demand will drive critical mass volumes, and volume has always been the mother of invention and cost savings. Is it an evolution or a revolution? 5G capital needs of the carriers is going to continue to take money away from the DAS for the carrier build. The 5G in-building penetration is going to create more opportunity in the neutral host. One of the things to think about is, does the enterprise market, if it is truly a bell curve coming, does that cause bifurcation of the DAS systems and technology between carrier DAS and enterprise DAS, especially if we get into more of the cookie cutter type DAS on the enterprise segments? Will the changes that need to be meet the economic model for the enterprise market? Let's face it, that enterprise market is going to be driven almost totally by economics. We've heard a lot of people talk about ROI, how to make money for the building owners and so on. We can either let the economic model drive it because the building owners want to buy it because it's making them money, or if the marketplace continues to demand, you're going to see almost a revolution. The industry's movement to the fourth utility is going to become the norm in the enterprise facility. Enterprise buildings are just going to have it. Dark fiber is being commoditized more rapidly all the time, as you heard some people say here ahead of me. The dark fiber is almost starting to go away already to where everybody should be thinking about laying new fiber. But it will help some of the cost on the front end. And then 5G obviously is going to drive it as we see 5G start to be put across all. Summarize, so I was supposed to help us catch up a little bit. In my humble opinion, the in-building marketplace is massive. It is coming. Much of the enterprise market is going to be economically challenged for sure. The market will demand and create a change in the in-building economic model. Technology and architecture is evolving to achieve some of that. The impact of 5G is really not known, but that marketplace is marching on. I can guarantee it. Regardless of 5G impact, and my personal opinion is it will be a revolution. It will change how we look at DAS in this marketplace in the next 5 years. We've talked a lot about 10 years out. In the next 2 to 3 years, I believe you're going to see enterprise market really become a revolution that is going to change a lot of us that are sitting in this room's vision of how we think about DAS and how we go after DAS, which to this conference is just a small part of what we've talked about today as we look at the overall evolution. But I believe the DAS revolution is here. Thank you.